Buddy, in this topic, I'm going to explain if statements. An if statement is used to do some code only if some condition we set is true. Else, we could do something else. It's a basic form of decision making. If it's true, we do something. If it's not true, we don't do it. Let's ask a user for their age. Age equals input. Enter your age. I will typecast the input as an integer. Depending on what the user's age is, we can do one of a few things. Let's pretend that the user would like to sign up for a credit card, but in order to do so, their age needs to be greater than or equal to 18. Well, we can check that. To use an if statement, type if, then some condition. What would we like to check? Let's check to see if the user's age is greater than or equal to 18. Then add a colon, then hit enter. Any code underneath the if statement should be indented. Make sure to pay attention to that because that's easy to miss. If the user's age is greater than or equal to 18, let's print, you are now signed up. If I were to run this code, I'll type in my age, I'll type 21, hit enter. This statement is true, therefore we will execute any code found within the if statement. You are now signed up. What if this condition was not true? Let's say my age is 13. Well, nothing happens. If the condition we check is instead false, we skip over this code. If you need to take a different course of action, you could add an else statement. If this is true, do this. Else, we can do something else. Let's print a different message. You must be 18 plus to sign up. I'll type in my age again. I'll say that I'm 13, hit enter. You must be 18 plus to sign up. That's basically an if statement. Do some code only if some condition is true. Else, you can do something else entirely. It's a basic form of decision making. The else statement is kind of like a last resort. We can check more than one condition before reaching the else statement. We can add an else if statement, which we just shorten to ELIF, meaning else if. Else if, let's check if age is less than 0. Then we'll print a different message. You haven't been born yet. Now, if I run this code, I'll say that my age is -1. This condition is false. We skip this code. This condition is true, therefore we will execute this code. And we skip the else statement. You haven't been born yet. Let's add another else if statement. You can add as many else if statements as you want. Let's check to see if somebody's age is greater than or equal to 100. We'll print a different message. Let's print, you are too old to sign up. If I were to say my age is 111 years old, well, it states you are now signed up. The reason that we didn't reach this part of our else if statement, that's because this condition is still technically true. You do need to pay attention to your order of if and else if statements. If I want to be sure that nobody over 100 is signing up, I should probably move this to the beginning. If age is greater than or equal to 100, then else if age is greater than or equal to 18, we'll do something else. Enter your age, I am 111 years old. You are too old to sign up. So those are if statements. If some condition is true, do something. Else if, you can check something else. If no above conditions are true, you could do something else entirely. It's kind of like the default. Here's another example. We'll ask a user if they would like some food. Response equals input. Would you like food? We'll have the user type in Y for yes or N for no. If our response, now to check to see if two values are equal, you would use double equals. If the response is equal to Y, then we will print have some food. The doubles equal sign is the comparison operator. It will check to see if two values are equal. You don't want one equals because that's the assignment operator. Python, in this case, thinks we're attempting to assign the character y to response. So for comparisons, use double equals. Else, we can print no food for you. So, would you like food? I'll type y, have some food. Let's try it again. I'll type no, and for no food for you. Here's a third example. We'll have a user type in their name. Name equals input. Enter your name. If our name is equal to an empty string, that means they didn't type in anything. So let's yell at the user. You did not type in your name. Else, we will print, using an F string, hello, whatever the name is. Enter your name. I'm just going to hit enter. You did not type in your name. Let's run this again. I'll type in my name. And we have executed the else statement this time. Hello, bro. So one important thing that you should know is the use of Booleans with if statements. Suppose we have some Boolean variable named for sale. I'll set this to be true. Now, using an if statement, you can just use the Boolean variable in place of a condition, because a condition would evaluate to be true or false. We could just say, if for sale, if that's true, then let's print this item is for sale. Else, we will print this item is not for sale. For sale is set to be true. This item is for sale. If this variable were false, well then the item is not for sale. Let's try a different variable. How about online? If online, the user is online. Else, the user is offline. So, the user is offline. I'll change the Boolean to true. The user is online. So with if statements, you can either write a condition, or you could use a Boolean. Alright everybody, so those are if statements. Do some code only if some condition is true. Else, you can do something else. It's a basic form of decision making. And those are if statements in Python. Hey everybody, this is a remake of my Python calculator program for absolute beginners. All you need to know to complete this exercise is just if statements and how they work. So let's get started. For this exercise, a user is going to select an arithmetic operator. Operator equals input. We will ask the user to enter an operator. This will be plus for addition, minus for subtraction, asterisk for multiplication, and a forward slash for division. You could enter more than this, but I don't want to make this exercise too complicated. We will create a variable of num1 to contain our first number. Let's say we would like to add two numbers together. What is the first number going to be? Enter the first number. And let's do this with the second number. Num2. Enter the second number. Let me show you something. I'm going to add num1 and num2 together. Num1 plus num2. We'll do a test run. Enter an operator. I would like to use addition. Enter the first number. 10 and 11. Well, the result is 1011. When we accept user input, they are string data types. What we've ended up doing is string concatenation. We've concatenated the string of 11 to 10. That's why we ended up with 1011. We'll have to convert these two strings to be floating point numbers by typecasting them as a float. So enclose your input functions with a typecast of float. And now we should be able to add those two numbers together. So let's add 10 and 11, and we get 21.0. Depending on the operator that the user selects, we'll use some if statements to determine that. We will check if our operator variable is equal to a character of plus. And for now, I'll write pass as a placeholder. We'll get back to this later. Else if our operator is equal to minus, we will use subtraction. And for now, I'll write pass. Else if operator is equal to an asterisk for multiplication, we will multiply. Else if our operator is equal to a / for division, we will divide. If our operator is addition, let's create a variable of result. Then we just have to print the result. Print our result. Be sure to do this with each of the else if statements as well. And let's see what we have. Let's add 5.5 plus 6.9. That gives us 12.4. Let's subtract 420 minus 0.69. That gives us 419.31. Let's test multiplication. 0.14, which gives us 9.8596. Then division. Let's divide 69 by 13. And that gives us a really long number. So you could round a number if you would like. We would enclose our result within the round function. And we'll just update each of these print statements. This will round to the nearest whole integer. So let's divide 420 by 13. Let's say that we would like 3 digits after the decimal. Within the round function, we could add comma 3 for 3 decimal places. Enter an operator. Let's use division. Divide 420 by 69. So that gives me 6.087. So we can round to a given digit after a decimal. In this case, 3 places. What if somebody types in an operator that doesn't exist, like the word pizza? Then I will divide 2 numbers. Well, let's add an else statement. If somebody selects some input that is invalid, let's let them know. I'll use an F string. Let's say that the operator that the user has selected is not valid. And let's try this again. Enter an operator. Pizza. Enter the first number, 420 and 69. Pizza is not valid. Let's say is not a valid operator instead. That makes more sense. Pizza will be my operator. First number is 420, second number is 69. Pizza is not a valid operator. All right, everybody, so that is a very simple Python calculator program you can make as a beginner. Hey there, it's me again. In today's topic, we're going to create a weight converter program in Python. This is an exercise that will follow up the lesson on if statements. We'll convert pounds to kilograms or kilograms to pounds. The user is going to decide. We will begin by creating a weight variable. We will assign some user input. Enter your weight. We will convert this input into a floating point number. So add that cast. Then we will ask for a unit. Is this weight in kilograms or pounds? Input, kilograms, or pounds. We want the user to type in either K for kilograms or L for pounds. And these are capital letters, by the way. Using an if statement, let's first check to see if our unit is equal to a capital K. That means the current weight is in kilograms. We need to convert that weight to pounds. Let's reassign weight equal to our weight times 2.205. Else if unit is equal to L, we need to convert to kilograms. Weight equals weight divided by 2.205. Else the user did not type in something that was valid. Let's print, using an F string, unit was not valid. At the end of our program, we will print the new weight. I'll use an F string. Your weight is our new weight after it's reassigned. Now we need a unit of measurement. This is what I'm thinking we'll do. Within our if and else if statements, let's reassign our unit. We're reassigning unit to be LBS for pounds. Else if unit equals KGS for kilograms. In our results, we will display our new unit. Let's take a look. Enter your weight. Actually, I'm just going to make one change. I'm going to add colon space. There, that's much better. Enter your weight. Let's say I'm 180 pounds. This is in pounds. I'll type capital L. Your weight in kilograms is 81.6.
I said weight is float input into your weight. Minus K weight equal weight. Right? That should be that. 1 pound. There. Your weight, 1 pound. Weight equals float input into your weight, so we enter our weight. Unit equals input kilogram or pounds, K or L. If the unit is K, we take the weight entered equals weight times 2.25. Unit equals pounds. I should have put that. If we say the unit is equal to L, weight equals that, and we divide it, 2.25 pounds, we get kgs. Those print your units, no value. Okay, this makes sense. There were 5K. Okay, there we go. 5 kilograms. That should be 2. L, weight equals weight. Or I'm going wrong here though. Let's be right here. Take that out.
81.63. I think I'm going to round this. I will include
Messing up somewhere. I just don't know where. What if I just flip this? It just starts working inverse now. Okay. So it's stopping right here. Does he have an else?
is 81.63.
Why is mine shitting itself?
We're within our if and else if statements measurement. We want the user to type in either K for kilograms or L for pounds.
Weight equals flow input into your weight. Weight equals flow input into your weight. Okay, I got that.
And these are capital letters, by the way.
This part's simple.
Using an if statement, let's first check to see if our unit is equal to a capital K. That means the current weight is in kilograms. We need to convert that weight to pounds.
It's this simple.
Let's reassign weight equal to our weight times 2.205. Else if unit is equal to L, we need to convert to kilograms. Weight equals weight divided by 2.205. Else the user did not type in something that was valid. Let's print, using an F string, unit was not valid. At the end of our program, we will print the new weight. I'll use an F string. Your weight is our new weight after it's reassigned. Now we need a unit of measurement. This is what I'm thinking we'll do. Within our if and else if statements, let's reassign our unit. We're reassigning unit to be LBS for pounds. Else if unit equals KGS for kilograms. In our results, we will display our new unit. Let's take a look. Enter your weight. Actually, I'm just going to make one change. I'm going to add colon space. There, that's much better. Enter your weight. Let's say I'm 180 pounds. This is in pounds. I'll type capital L. Your weight in kilograms.
L if unit equal L. L if unit equal L. Fuck. Weight equal weight divided by 2.205. Weight equals weight divided by 2.05. Unit equal KGS. Done. Am I silly? If unit equal K. Weight equals weight times 2.25. Unit equal LBS.
Let's take a weight equals. Enter your. Let's say I'm 180 pounds in kilograms is 81. Within a this again, 0.6 pounds. Let's make sure that this else statement works too. 100. I'll type K for kilograms. Enter your weight. Maybe I'm 81 kilograms. I'll type K for kilograms. Your weight is 100. Let's try the round function.
Tweaking from 180 pounds. Tell me that's not it. Is that my whole issue? Am I that stupid? 180 pounds. How much do I weigh? Fucking hell.
We will round to 1 decimal place. Let's try this again. Enter your weight. Maybe I'm 81 kilograms. I'll type K for kilograms. Your weight is 178.6 pounds. Let's make sure that this else statement works too. Enter your weight. 180 pizzas. Pizzas was not valid. So we're still displaying our output. We would want to avoid that if somebody doesn't type in a valid unit. So let's cut this line, then paste each within the if and else if statements. When we exit the else statement, we're not printing the output. So let's make sure that this works. Enter your weight. I am 180 pizzas. Pizza was not valid. All right, everybody. Well, that exit valid unit. Still the pizzas. Pizzas was not valid. So we're still displaying our output. We would want to avoid that if somebody doesn't type in a valid unit. So let's cut this line, then paste each within the if and else if statements. When we exit the else statement, we're not printing the output. So let's make sure that this works. Enter your weight. I am 180 pizzas. Pizza was not valid. All right, everybody. Well, that is a weight converter program in Python. I thought this would be a helpful exercise now that we have finished the section on if statements. And yeah, that is a weight converter program in Python.
Thanks for watching.